Hey guys, what's good? It is July the 4th, 2026. This is Shane's World News Views podcast for the week. Happy 4th of July. It is the 250th birthday of the greatest country, the United States of America. For all of those patriots, enjoy. For all of those non-patriots that are delusional and believe all the lies, go fuck yourself. How about that? Because you people are just too far out there, and you don't deserve to celebrate this holiday. You don't deserve to be in this country. So to start off, something I left out a few weeks ago, 3 Medal of Freedom honorees were honored by President Trump. Unfortunately, one was deceased. His son was there. The other 2 were present. So that's the highest military honor for serving for this country. So 3 new Medal of Freedom recipients. So congratulations to those guys. And, unfortunately, like I said, one is deceased, so his son had to accept. Rest in peace to that honoree, and I'm glad his son was there to accept. Lance Schroyer, he's a former Oklahoma State trooper. He is the new ICE director. So, of course, ICE serves a huge purpose here in this country, getting illegal immigrants out of here. And good for Lance Schroyer. He was nominated by President Trump, so I'm sure he'll do good in his position. Alligator Alcatraz, I forgot to mention this also, here in South Florida. It was basically holding illegal immigrants. It was a detention center, and that was officially closed down, and those immigrants were shipped to other detention centers and jails, I believe, around the United States. So get them out of here. If they're illegal, get them out of here, plain and simple. But Alligator Alcatraz served a purpose, and so while it was open, it served its purpose. Things were done well, so good for that. Also, the Supreme Court was busy this week. They were favoring birthright citizenship. They were favoring mail-in balloting, which President Trump is not for. So they also favored these immigration policies as far as keeping these illegals out of this country. And they, not every single thing President Trump is going to win with the Supreme Court, even though it's Republican favored right now. But also the men and women's sports, they are in favor of that not happening, so as again, men should not be playing, biologically born men should not be playing in women's sports, because they would have an advantage over those women. It's plain and simple. It's not fair. It's not a fair game. So, look, President Trump had a couple go his way, had a couple not go his way. The birthright citizenship thing, I mean, again, that's like where 2 illegals could come into the country. They can have the kid here in the United States, and then all of a sudden they're an American citizen. And, so, I mean, I understand the whole thing, about, why President Trump is against it. So, hey, we'll see what happens down the road. Maybe eventually they take it up again and it goes the other way, but we'll see what happens. And for now, the war with United States, Iran is still in the process of being, in the process of a peace agreement possibly occurring, but who knows what's going to happen with that. I believe they just had a funeral for the Ayatollah in Iran who died months ago now. So they just had his funeral. So President Trump was basically giving them the week to, celebrate this whack job's life over there. And, so that it's on hold for the week. We'll see what happens going into next week. I believe there's more NATO meetings going on next week. Also, let's speak about this idiot fucking slimeball governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, and other higher ups on the Minnesota, the Minnesota committee that decided it was good to pardon a scumbag man who was accused of, or who did, fondle with a fucking 10-year-old girl in 2006, sexual advances or molesting her or whatever he did. And then this whack job came and said, oh, she's just as responsible for it and this and that. And they pardoned this guy because he wrote some kind of an apology letter. It's fucking crazy. So it's okay having child sexual predators back on the streets, and some of these Democrat people are fucking way far gone. So that's horrible. I know President Trump had pardoned 11 people this week. So trust me, when President Trump is pardoning you, there's a much better chance that that you were screwed and that you're a good person compared to some of the fucking crazy people that, the lefties are pardoning if they get the chance. Child sexual predators. So, it's fucking crazy. And, what else is going on? There's President Trump. He's been doing a lot of shit this week for 250, for the 250th birthday of the United States. He was in North Dakota earlier this week visiting the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library, former President Theodore Roosevelt. Just last night, he was at Mount Rushmore in South Dakota speaking. So now back in Washington, where I believe tonight he's going to appear again. I believe he already spoke at the National Mall earlier this week at the Great American Fair before it started. And I think he's going to be back there tonight for the firework display that they're going to have. I think he's going to speak again. President Trump's all over the place, and he's doing good things. And, no matter what the corrupt people say, he is trying to unite this country. He is trying to make the United States of America better than ever before. And as he always says, the best is yet to come. So, it's just amazing the lies and, the defaming that Donald Trump has had to go through, man. It's a sad thing. And it just shows the money-hungry people, the power grabs that these people want, that they'll be willing to do anything to smear, to lie about people, just so their political party can be in control. This is the Democrat. This is the current Democrat Party, which is trying to turn socialist. Of course, a lot of the Democrats aren't for the socialism, where you only have that smaller handful that are, but there's still a ton of corrupted Democrats that are lying on a consistent basis. And again, there's Republicans that lie too, but not as bad as the Democratic side, man. It's really bad. So again, like I always say, we need better people in these positions, plain and simple. Plain and simple. So I think that's pretty much where we're at, guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I forgot to bring up here. There's been a couple of deaths the last week in entertainment that I wanted to touch on. The great Peabo Bryson, R&B musician. I've met Peabo several times. He always treated me good, man. I just saw him a few months ago when he came to play Fort Lauderdale, and he didn't look great, but he looked okay. And he was smoking a cigarette, and I guess it ended up being that he had a stroke, and that's what killed him. And he had a heart attack a couple of years ago. So something he should not have been doing is continue smoking. Obviously, when you have a heart attack, that's a signal. Give up the bad habits. He continued smoking. I was talking to him while he was smoking a cigarette. So it sucks, man. Peabo was a really good guy. Super nice to me whenever I encountered him. So rest in peace to Peabo Bryson. Rest in peace to Victor Willis, who was from the Village People. Of course, the big YMCA song, which President Trump always plays out at his rallies. When he's when he's departing the stage, he'll play YMCA. Victor Willis, rest in peace. And I never actually got to meet Victor Willis. I had chances and I just never did. So I figured I would eventually, and sorry that never happened. So that sucks. And trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about here. No, it was kind of one of those weeks where it's just, with the whole 250 thing going on and President Trump traveling around to speak about it, to speak about this country, it didn't seem like there was a whole ton of stuff going on at the White House. And trying to think if there's anything. I think there, guys, I always say sometimes I miss a couple things, just like the medal, the medal honorees, and things that happened maybe a week or a couple weeks ago, and it slips my mind, and then I come back and I touch the topic because I'm trying to remember everything off the top of my head instead of just jotting it all down. And of course I don't have a teleprompter in front of me. So also something that I thought was pretty cool is that Texas schools are going to start making it mandatory that there's some Bible education in all classrooms, and I think that's a great thing. So anytime you're bringing the Bible in and educating kids, look, God did put us here. We did have a creator. We didn't just appear here, okay? Somebody put us here. There's a reason why we die and go to the afterlife, for eternal life. It's just the way it is. And they say, like, Earth is the place where you're tested. This is the place where, that's it. Your battle. This is your life, and you're given this, ability to make choices, and you're decided upon your choices at the end. And then when eternal life, you're either spending it in heaven, peaceful heaven, or you're spending it in hell. So I strive for heaven, and so while I'm on earth, I want to do the best I can, do the right things, preach the right things, preach the truth, of course, and try to educate as many people as I can that actually will watch these or see these videos, because of course it's hard to see, with as many thousands or even millions of videos that are put on YouTube, unless you have some kind of backing from a very famous person. Like if I had President Trump's backing, I'd have a ton of views right now. But unfortunately, President Trump, we've met several times and we always got along, but I'm not in it with Trump like that. Even though we were cool when we met, he's met so many people. But I'm just saying, if I had his backing, or Joe Rogan, or somebody that would get, famous podcaster Joe Rogan, if I had somebody like that would back me, I'd have tons of views. And so if you don't have that, you're just hoping that people see your video, and eventually people say, oh man, this guy is good. He's talking real shit that's going on, so then they pass it along, and eventually you're going up in views, and your word is getting out there more. But listen, guys, a lot of people are telling you the same exact thing I'm telling you. I'm basically just bringing you the true facts. And again, we got too many corrupted people that are working for our country, that are stealing money. They're lying to you. They're saying that they're investing it in this and that, and they're not. They're putting it in their pockets, and they're pouring money to other countries and getting money kickbacks back. And not just our country, all countries, and some more than others. And maybe, I'm not saying every single country, but a lot of other countries, there's illegal shit going on. And I'd love to see it stop everywhere. I'd like to see leaders and governments do things that are right for their people. And that's it. But unfortunately, we got a lot of bad people, and it's the way it is for now. Hopefully it cleans up. You got the World Cup stuff going on. I mean, I'm not keeping much track. I know the United States is still in it, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't really like talking sports on here, but I'll bring that up. I think that's about where we're at, guys, for this week. So if I have anything that slipped my mind this week, I'll bring it up next week. But I think we're good for now. So again, happy 250. It is the greatest country in the world, even though there's a lot of bad people in it. We gotta we have to make these people that have committed crimes hold them accountable. All the thousands of illegal immigrants that the Biden administration allowed into this country, all these fucking child predators that they allowed into this country, the phony imposter Biden administration that you will see soon, is not, it was never, it was a farce. President Trump won the 2020 election. You will see that. And again, Sleepy Joe Biden's name and Kamala Harris's name need to be erased as ever being legit president, vice president of the United States. They both lost, and their names should be removed forever. And President Trump won that election, and you will see that soon. And as the investigations that are ongoing will be presented and shown, and we will see then. Everybody will see then. All right, guys, I'll see you next week with another episode.